Welcome to the Atoll, your home for Waterworld fandom. On this channel, we study everything Waterworld and make new discoveries about this cult sci-fi adventure franchise. On today's video, we will be looking at everything we know about the infamous sea monster of Waterworld, known as the Whalefin. In the film, we are introduced to the Goliath Whalefin when Helen and Enola, on the edge of starvation, beg the mariner to help them catch a fish to eat. He reluctantly agrees, producing a two-headed harpoon gun attached to a long wire line, and jumps off the stern of the trimaran. Reading from the Waterworld novelization. Holding and hanging on to the harpoon gun as if it were a handle tied to the ski rope of the trolling wire, he lay face down on the surface of the foaming water, allowing himself to be dragged along behind the boat. Helen and Enola could only hear the sounds when his head was above water, but the mariner was emitting strange, dolphin-like squeaks as he skimmed along, pulled behind the boat. Kicking expertly, he swung back and forth across the trimaran's wake, then suddenly began spinning on the end of the wire. Helen frowned, like a lure. Rupturing the surface of the sea, making the ship's wake seem like a meaningless trickle by comparison, a huge blue creature burst into view. 30 feet long, easily, with the body of a whale and seemingly countless rudder-like fins, it leapt with the grace of a dolphin. But dolphins don't have impossibly huge jaws, ringed with pointy razor-sharp teeth that opened into a yawning, oblong entry to hell. Then a tearing thunking sound emerged from within the beast, and so did a harpoon. Right out the side of its grotesque head, the second ripping thunk announced another harpoon's exit from the other side of the now dying beast's ugly skull. Soon a knife blade was emerging from the fleshy area by the jaws as the mariner began cutting himself an exit from his catch of the day. After slaying the horrifying behemoth, Helen, Enola, and the mariner sit down to savor some sizzling whalefin steak and eyeballs in a scene that's always stuck out in my mind for its visceral yet grotesque depiction of enjoying a meal together. After the meal, the mariner gives Enola swimming lessons, claiming the waters are now safe because the whalefins have gone to sleep.
Oh, they're sleeping now.
But how did the VFX crew of Waterworld create this, for its time, groundbreaking visual effect which combined an early computer-generated monster with live-action footage and water simulations, all while in broad daylight, a notoriously difficult lighting situation for early VFX artists? The Whalefin was first envisioned by Steve Berg, Waterworld's concept artist, as a mutated sea creature with a sideways opening mouth packed with sharp teeth. Visual effects supervisor Michael McAllister collaborated with live-action special effects expert Marty Breeson to devise a way to combine the live-action backplate with the computer-generated whalefin that pops out of the water. They decided to construct a real, practical esophagus that would be dragged by a boat just underneath the surface of the water. The resulting esophagus structure looked a lot like an 18-foot-long windsock. Kevin Costner's stunt double, Norman Howell, was also dragged behind the boat and had the windsock swallow him. As the windsock came out of the water, it became the inside of the fish. This helped to organically create the wake and shadows on the water and around the stunt double. This footage was then passed along to Bert Terreri and the company Rhythm and Hughes, who were also responsible for the creation of the cut tracker shark scene, which I have covered in my Deacon action figure review. These early digital artists matched the live-action footage with the 3D renderings of the whalefin leaping out of the water. Additional work was added by Cinesite and Arteri to match computer-generated water simulations around the creature to further sell the VFX shot. Additional shots were captured by Richard Merriman, the B camera operator responsible for capturing surface-level shots with a waterproof camera while floating from a pink rubber giraffe. Classic movie-making tricks were used by only showing bits and pieces of a prop monster emerging from the water and attacking the mariner. But apart from the film, where else does the Whalefin pop up in the Waterworld expanded universe? Well, you may be surprised that none of the many Waterworld video games have an appearance of the Whalefin. This is perhaps because the final Whalefin VFX shot was not completed to very close to the film's release, and perhaps the game developers were not able to incorporate the in-movie monster design as an enemy in any of the games. However, the Whalefin does have a significant role in the Children of the Leviathan comic book series. We are first introduced to the Whalefin at the beginning of the series when the mariner is abruptly attacked by the horror of the depths. The mariner drives the Whalefin back into the darkness of the ocean with the force of his spear. However, the behemoth rouses from its healing sleep days later, now engulfed in rage. In the end, the Leviathan himself falls to his fate and into the rows of razor-sharp teeth of the starved Whalefin. The genetic mutation subplot of the comics may also explain the existence and sped-up evolution of the Whalefin, as well as the other mutant sea life of Waterworld. Perhaps the ancient scientists of the Foundation, or one of the 4 other alluded to underwater bunkers, created, either intentionally or as a byproduct, these aquatic beasts from their genetic experiments to forge the perfect creation to inhabit a world completely covered by water. But where else does the sea monster raise its hideous fish head? Well, we can spot renderings of the Whalefin on the playing board of the board game, and a frenzy of Whalefins swarm at the bottom of the table on the pinball machine. Well, there you have it. That's everything we know about the mutant sea monster known as the Whalefin. If you enjoyed this video and wish to support the channel and the fandom of Waterworld in general, then please consider subscribing. And thanks, as always, for joining me at the Atoll.